Andy Ngo is our guest, investigative reporter out of Portland. Unmasked Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy is his book, coming out next month, but you can pre-order it now. You've been calling Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. You have been recording this and reporting on it. You've even sadly had to put your own life and limb in danger through your reporting, Andy. So I think I'd love your response to the fact that many elected officials, including the mayor of Portland, mayor of Seattle, the now President-elect Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they refuse to say that Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization, or in Joe Biden's words, even a real thing. He thinks Antifa is more of an idea than an organization, and yet they were immediately ready to call the events of Wednesday domestic terrorism. What's that all about?
Well, what it shows is that when it comes to violent extremism on their own side, they're either hesitant to call it out silent, or in worst cases are actually complicit in it. The VP-elect Kamala Harris had actually urged her billions of followers on social media last summer to support the Minnesota Freedom Fund, which is the crowdfunding bail fund that was paying the bonds for people accused of rioting, charged with attempted murder, with sex crimes, and this was the campaign that she supported and other people who worked on the Joe Biden campaign staff. And the people now who are the loudest about condemning the activities on Wednesday at the Capitol. My question is, where were they when rioters laid siege to Portland for more than 120 straight days in Portland last year, when they tried to break and burn down a federal courthouse in downtown, federal property as well, when they injured federal law enforcement officers? The response from the governor, the mayor, the senators in Oregon at that time, and in the media was that the federal officers were the Gestapo, and that they should not have protected federal property. Mm-hmm. So these people now who are crying the loudest are hypocrites. They didn't condemn the terrorism that happened last year. In many cases, they actually inflamed it. And as a matter of weeks ago, people like AOC were talking about how protests are meant to be uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. So these are the rules that they laid out, and now other people are playing by it, and we are all to lose because of that.
And meanwhile, the net result, of course, is that the violence continues in Portland. You documented again last night. For the third night in a row, the Black Bloc violent extremists from Antifa went after a police department just outside of Portland. Mayor Ted Wheeler, what's going on with that, Mayor? Because he seems to sort of be all over the map with regard to response here and what he's intending to do.
He is. I think he's come belatedly to the realization that by trying to coddle this violent extremist movement known as Antifa in his city, going back to 2017 when he came into office, that has actually not just damaged his own reputation, but it's damaged the lives of thousands and thousands of Portlanders. We've had now 4 riots in the Portland area since New Year's Eve. The same day that the riot happened at the Capitol building, Antifa used tools to try to break into Monoma County courthouse in downtown, and that received no attention. So people who are carrying out the same criminal activities of people were doing in the Capitol, they're doing that locally. And people in the press should care about that, but they don't, because it's involving Antifa. And so Wheeler is realizing that the chickens have come home to roost, and that just 2 nights ago he was confronted and then assaulted by some of these militant extremists when he was eating out. So the issues that existed while Trump was in office in regards to the rise of Antifa, they are going to remain there even as with the next administration. And so my warning to everybody is not to be naive to think that Antifa is going away simply because there's a Democrat in office in a matter of weeks.
Yep. Amen to that. That's why we'll continue our conversations. I just found out I did get an advance copy of your new book, so I will read it, and we'll have you back for the launch of your book on February 2nd. It's Unmasked: Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy. Andy No, thank you for joining us.